The hero's journey. You've likely heard of the hero's journey before. It is said there is only one story in the world, one story retold with endless variations, and that story is the hero's journey. The hero's journey is the outline of a universal story that has universal application. For the moment, the hero's journey that I will begin with here is the story of the fall from grace. Some quick research results in statements like this. The fall from grace is the transition of the first man and woman from a state of innocent obedience to God to a state of guilty disobedience. For our discussion today, we're going to assume the original state of humans was in oneness, as in, we were all floating around in a sea of consciousness. We were not alone, but we didn't know it. We were also not aware of our complete connection with each other because there was no other. There was only one. In his book, The Third Millennium, Living in a Post-Historic World, Ken Carey describes how humans took a dip into individuality to experience it. We experienced individuality, leaving oneness behind for a brief moment, fell out of oneness, then went right back into it. We tried this again and again, each time staying longer outside of oneness as an individual and the individual experience. Later on, you'll learn about 3 positions to occupy: self, other, and observer. But for now, suffice it to say, each time we experienced individuality, we were experiencing the position of self and the natural consequence that goes along with the self, that there is an other that exists apart from us. Carey goes on to explain that humans ultimately believed the influences coming from outside themselves were more real than the influence coming from the presence of God within them. If you balk at the mention of God, you can translate that to, ultimately, they believed the influences coming from outside themselves were more real than the influence coming from their own truth within them. Carey goes on, believing lies, they exchanged their beautifully unique individuality for conformity to a fear-centered external code. If we overlay Ken Carey's story about individuation from the hero's journey, we might see that the first step is our fall from grace, our exit point from oneness. I shall point out here that in the 21st century, the fall from grace is considered an error, an unfortunate mistake, the state of ignorance at its best, and a state of guilty disobedience at its worst. In other words, we were bad. I disagree. I think the journey a hero or a human makes is a necessary journey if one wants to realize a rich, complete life full of meaning and purpose. Joseph Campbell was an American professor, writer, and orator, best known for his work in the fields of comparative mythology and religion. He has the corner market on the hero's journey with his book, The Hero with 1,000 Faces, and a couple other books. In The Hero with 1,000 Faces, Campbell describes the hero's journey as the universal motif of adventure and transformation that runs through every world myth. It's the universal story with unlimited variations. This journey has also greatly influenced artists, authors, songwriters, game designers, filmmakers, and anyone possessing an inherent human desire to tell a story. I wish to explore the hero's journey here as it relates to one's life and the evolution of one within that life. Not only that, but I wish to use it eventually to map numerous relatively minuscule journeys in one's life. Each relationship is a journey. Each job is a journey. Each home, each event. Were we to map enough of these, we could capture life's learnings. We could then summarize them into an ultimate life plan complete with positivity, meaning, purpose, and experience the joy and peace that emerges from within us.